going to make a lamb curry today. This is beautiful. Really, really, really beautiful. You will not regret watching this video. So let's get moving on this one, shall we? So, lamb. I've got about 500 or 600 grams of lamb there. That's about a pound. Little bit of bone in there, little tiny bit of fat, which is great, but it's mostly beautiful, lovely cut of lamb there. 3 regular sized tomatoes. Try and use a nice ripe tomato. 1 onion, cut really small. Green chili, it's up to you how many you put in, and you can chop yours if you want. I'm going to put mine in just like that. Our powders. We've got 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 2 teaspoons of cumin, and 3 teaspoons of chili powder. I'm using a Kashmiri chili powder. In here I've got 4 black cardamoms. What I've done is I've just opened them out, just to sort of, so you can see the seeds in there. You don't want to put them in whole because that'd be a bit useless. 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds and a couple of inches of cinnamon stick there. And here I've got a tablespoon of garlic ginger paste. We're going to be adding a few more little bits, but we'll do that as we get along. So I've got some hot oil there. I'm using a sunflower oil. You could use a coconut oil or maybe like a mustard oil. That'd be really nice. Let's drop in our whole seeds. So we've got the black cardamom, the cinnamon, and the cumin seeds. And just let them do their thing in this oil just for a few seconds. They'll infuse the oil. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drop in our meat. And you can see I've got some bones there, little rib bones, bigger bone, but mostly lovely meat. And on this high heat, we're going to go for about 4 minutes just to seal and get the lamb a little head start. Beautiful, just a nice bit of colour on there. Next up we're going to drop in our onion. I've cut my onion really small. And we're going to stay on this lively high heat. And again we're going to go for another 4 minutes. I'm going to be moving it about pretty much all the time. Now, I've done it in this frying pan just so you can kind of see it a bit clearer. But you can do this in a saucepan, no problem. And we're going to need a lid at some point as well. Fabulous. Next up, let's get a little bit of salt in there. I'm going to drop in my chilies. And like I say, I'm just putting mine in whole like that. Chop them if you want. And then 1 tablespoon of garlic ginger paste, which is a 50-50 mix of garlic and ginger. We make this ourselves because we use so much of it. Which you could do if you want. You could make a small batch of it, or you can buy it pre-made in jars. Another 4 minutes. Keep it moving. We're now going to drop in our spices. So we've got 1 turmeric, 2 cumin, 3 chili powder, teaspoons that is. You could get some coriander powder in here if you wanted, but I like this little combo we're using today. Next up, I'm going to go in with those fresh tomatoes. And we want a nice ripe tomato, your ripest, juiciest tomato. We're going to cook this for 5 or 6 minutes now. We want those tomatoes to break down and hopefully they'll give off some moisture. If not, we'll be adding some water, but let's see. We can't tell until the process takes place. So yeah, I'll be back in about 5 or 6 minutes, hopefully with some moisture in the pan. And look at that. Those tomatoes are cooked down really nicely and we did get some moisture from that. We're going to need to add some more. I'm just going to go with some water here. Now, very simply, I mean, you've done it now, it's done. Well done. What we're going to do is get a lid on this. We're going to get the heat down. Not to a simmer, but just above a simmer. Lid's going to go on. I'm going to come back in about 25 to 30 minutes. Give it a stir every now and then. That time's going to ensure that that meat is super, super tender. Okay, off goes the heat. Let's get that lid off there. That's been going for like half an hour now. And that is beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Check it for salt. What we're going to do now is add a nice big pinch of garam masala powder. That's a nice kind of finishing powder. Fresh cilantro or coriander, whatever you may call that. Give that a mix. That is delicious. Let me get that on a plate. And there we have it, absolutely delicious. Get your rice ready, or in my case, I'm gonna have some naan bread. Super. I'm gonna make this lamb or mutton curry today, fall off the bone stuff here. Really super easy method. So a super easy, quick method of cooking this lamb is what we're about to do. So in there I've got 1 kg, which is 2.2 pound of lamb or mutton. Nice meat in there, bit of fat, few bones. What we're going to do is add 2 cups of onion. Fresh chili to taste. I mean, you can see the amount I've got. You can adjust that how you want to. 3 cups fresh tomatoes, roughly cut. 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste, which is a 50-50 mix of the two. Then we've got 1 cup of oil. I'm using a sunflower oil. You could use something different if you want. And then here we've got a teaspoon each. Always call this the big 4. We've got turmeric, chili, cumin, and coriander. One moment, I'm just going to grab 2 teaspoons of salt and black pepper. What we're going to do is I'm going to go in there with my hand. I'm going to put a glove on, give that a mix. So large pot, wok type thing, karai, whatever you want to use. Simply we're just going to drop all of the mixture in. I'm on slightly above medium. We're going to throw this around in the pan for 8 or 9 minutes. Stir every now and then. So as it cooks and the tomatoes cook down, you'll get a little bit of moisture from it. I mean, depending on the juiciness and ripeness of your tomatoes. Very simply, we're going to take water. We're going to drop that in. There's 1 litre of water there. Going to lower it to below medium now. Get a lid on that. And we'll let that go for 50 to 60 minutes. Give it a stir every now and then. Okay, that's been going for an hour now. Just taking the lid off. And it's reduced down quite a bit. We're going to get the heat on really high now. With the lid off, cook this for about 5 or 6 minutes. It will reduce down further, thicken up, and you've got yourself an amazing, amazing curry. Okay, off goes the heat. That 5 minutes at the end really brings it together as it steams out, thickens up. Really beautiful. I'm going to add a nice big pinch here of garam masala powder. Garam masala is like a nice finishing spice. And some cilantro or coriander. Check the salt level. For me, that is fabulous. And there you go, beautiful. Nice, easy method there. Really tasty, fall off the bone. Hope you enjoy that. Lamb curry, Indian style. Beautiful lamb in there. It's creamy, it's spicy, it's delicious. Okay, so I've got some oil in there. I've got about 3 or 4 tablespoons of oil, 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds, handful there of curry leaves, salt, and here's our lamb. It's a nice lean cut lamb, chunky cut. 500 grams or about a pound there. Above medium heat, 5 minutes, stirring often. Fabulous. 1 cup of onion, fresh chili to taste, 5 more minutes. Okay, next up, ginger garlic paste, 1 tablespoon of. We're going to go for 2 minutes. Fantastic stuff here. Okay, next up we're going to get our spices in. Let's take a look. 1 teaspoon each. Turmeric, chili, cumin, coriander. Three cups fresh tomatoes. Two cups water. We're now going to go for 8 to 10 minutes. So you can see that the tomatoes are broken down beautifully. Got a nice masala there now. We're now going to add a teaspoon of black pepper. Want a nice peppery flavour in there. 2 cups of cooked chickpeas. These are from a can, so if you're using from a can like I am, give them a nice wash in some cold water. Rinse them through. 1 cup coconut milk. We're now going to put this on a nice low simmer and let it go for 15 minutes. Okay, off goes the heat. That is absolutely delicious. Nice and deep, spicy but creamy. One more thing to add. I'm going to go with a nice big pinch of garam masala powder. If you want cilantro or coriander, I'm skipping that today, just going with that. That's beautiful. Lamb curry, really beautiful that one is. Well done, everyone. So we're going to make a lamb curry today. It's absolutely amazing, truly amazing, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Fall off the bone. So let's get started by looking at our lamb. So I've got 1 kg there, which is 2.2 pound of lamb. I've got a leg. It's been cut into some lovely pieces, nice and chunky. Got some beautiful meat on there. We've also got some bones. So you're going to need a pot like this, like a kind of wok type thing, or a saucepan. In there I've got some sunflower oil. I've got 3 tablespoons. We're going to get the whole lot of our beautiful lamb, and it's going to go in medium heat. And we're going to go for about 8 minutes just with the lamb before we start adding other stuff. We want to give it a nice head start. So that's been going about 8 minutes on a medium heat. I've just turned the heat up now to above medium. We're just giving that a nice head start. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds. We're going to add some fresh curry leaves. If you can get them, wonderful. If not, you can maybe try and get them dried. Next, we're going to add 1 cup of onion, 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste, which is a 50-50 mix of the two. I'm going to add some fresh chilies. The amount is entirely up to you. And I'm going to add some salt. So above medium heat, about 4 minutes or so, stirring often. That is looking absolutely wonderful. We're now going to add 3 cups of tomatoes. Try and use a nice juicy ripe tomato. We're going to add some water, about 3 cups of water. And we're going to let that go on a medium heat for about 8 to 9 minutes. We want those tomatoes to break down a little bit. So you can see that our tomatoes breaking down really nicely. We're now going to add some spices. Now today I'm adding a curry powder. And I've got a tablespoon and a half there of a beautiful curry powder that I got when I was in India last, when I was in Mumbai. So I'm going to be starting to use some of this. Now, you know, if you're a regular, you know that I would normally put in a teaspoon each of turmeric, chili, coriander and cumin, which I always call the big 4. But I'm going for this wonderful, wonderful stuff that I got in India. If I remember, I'll leave a link at the end of the video for the video when I went to the shop. I went to this guy's shop, which was just mind-blowing. Okay, we are now going to add a little bit more water, maybe about a cup or 2. We're going to put that on a complete simmer, the lowest you can get it. We're going to get a lid on it, and you're going to let it go for 30 minutes. Okay, let's jump in and take a look. This has been going for 30 minutes now. Oh, wow, that's really good. That is beautiful. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I mean, I'm pretty sure that my meat is really nice and tender now. I'm going to turn the heat up to maximum. And we're going to go for 5 minutes, just let it steam out a little bit on a nice high heat. So that kind of 5 minutes, as you can see, thickens it up. Gives it a really beautiful, lovely masala in there. Super happy with that. Off goes the heat. Now, if you want, get some fresh cilantro or coriander in there. Certainly check the salt level, but for me, super happy. Okay, and there she blows. What I've done is I've just topped that off with some thinly sliced fresh ginger. That is absolutely delicious. I hope you enjoy that. Lamb on the bone with potato curry. It really, really is good. Takes a little while, but it's delicious. So I've got here 1 kg or 2.2 pounds of lamb. You can use goat or something like that if you wanted. There's some bone in there, but some lovely, lovely meat. 2 decent sized tomatoes, 1 cup of onions, some curry leaves fresh if you can get them, absolutely wonderful. If you can't get them, try and get dried, but nothing else really does replace them. They've got quite a unique flavor to them. 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds, some fresh chili. I've got, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 there. I've split them down the middle, you know, but up to you what you want to put in. A tablespoon of ginger garlic paste, and then some spices. 2 teaspoons of chili powder. I'm using a Kashmiri chili powder, half a teaspoon of turmeric, and then 1 each of cumin and coriander. Now we are going to be adding some more things to this, but I want to get the meat on its way because we want to get this super tender. So you're going to need a large pot or a kind of woky thing like I always use. I'm melting down there some coconut oil. You could use a different oil if you want. And I've got quite a bit in there. There's probably 5 tablespoons. Use less if you like, but I think it needs it. What we're going to do is we're going to get our meat and we're going to drop it in. We're going to drop in the cumin seeds and the curry leaves, and on a slightly above medium heat we're going to throw this around for about 6 or 7 minutes. Want to kind of get the meat on its way. So we've got a little colour on the outside of the meat. We're now going to drop in that 1 cup of onion. And I'm going to be adding some salt. And to this one I'm going to add pepper. Quite a lot of pepper. It's like a teaspoon there. And we're going to continue cooking on this vibrant heat for another 5 minutes. Let's get those onions cooked down a little bit. Great stuff. Next up, that tablespoon of ginger garlic paste, which is a 50-50 mix of the two. I always say this, don't I, if you're a regular. You can buy this in every single Indian store, most Asian stores. Obviously you can get it online, or like we do, you can make it yourself. We use loads and loads of it here. Now let's get those 2 decent sized tomatoes in there. Try and use a nice juicy ripe tomato. Let's add our fresh chili, and then let's get our powders in as well. So let's take another look. 1/2 teaspoon turmeric, 2 teaspoons Kashmiri chili powder, 1 teaspoon cumin, 1 teaspoon coriander. Again, stay on this heat. We want to cook those tomatoes now. Want them to break down. We're going to go for about 6 minutes maybe. They might give off a little bit of moisture. We're going to be adding some water to this in a moment anyway. But yeah, this is going to be super fab. So this is looking really, really good. I've got some moisture from my tomatoes. If you didn't, don't worry, because we're going to be adding water right now anyway. So here we go. Let's get some water in. They're going to add quite a lot of water. There's maybe like 3 cups of water there. And just for a few minutes, I'm going to keep it on this heat until it kind of gets nice and hot again. And once it starts to boil up a little bit, I'm going to go on a simmer, nice low simmer with a lid on, for 30 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to get some potatoes ready. You can see that's reduced down somewhat. Tomatoes are really cooked now. Okay, next up, potatoes. So I've cut my potatoes quite small for this one. I've got 3 cups worth here. In they go. Let's give them a little mix in there. Going to turn the heat up to above medium. We're going to add a little bit more water. Maybe just 1 cup there. In fact, that was just under a cup actually. That's more like 1 cup. And we're going to let this go now for about another 5 or 6 minutes. We're still not done. Still a couple of more bits to go in here. Fabulous stuff. Really, really lovely. Okay, we're going to turn the heat down. Just above a simmer. I've got 1 cup here of coconut milk. We're going to pop that in. We're going to add a little pinch or 2, maybe about 1/2 teaspoon of garam masala powder, which is a beautiful kind of finishing powder. Now, we're going to let this go for maybe 5 or 6 minutes. What we want is those potatoes to be nice and tender. So yeah, probably 5 minutes or so. Give it a stir every now and then. That is wonderful. Okay, off goes the heat. That is divine. That is really, really lovely. Those potatoes are nice and tender. Of course, our lamb's going to be super now. Check that for salt. You might want to add a bit more. I'm good. If you want a little bit of cilantro or coriander in there, for me today, no thanks. Let's get that on the plate. And there you go, piping hot, lovely with rice, or like me, I prefer like a naan, paratha, or some roti, you know, some bread or something. Really, really beautiful. Right, we're going to make lamb curry today, Indian style. It's very simple, it's really delicious, fall off the bone. So what we're looking at here is 1 kg or 2.2 pounds of lamb or mutton. Nice meat, little bit of fat, plenty of bone. It's not the best quality of lamb ever, but we're going to make it really, really good. So you can see that I've just added that meat to a larger mixing bowl. I've got 3 cups here of tomato. Try and use a nice ripe juicy tomato. We're going to add 1 cup of onion. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of ginger garlic paste. We're going to add half a cup of oil. You can use any oil that you want. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, pepper and garam masala powder. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of what I always call the big 4, chili powder, cumin, turmeric and coriander. And then for the fresh chili today, I'm going with a Scotch bonnet or a habanero. This is extremely, extremely hot, but got lovely flavor. I'm just going to crush it in my hand and in it goes. You can see I've got a glove on, and especially because we've got that in there, you don't want to be touching your face after that. I'm going to go in, give it a little mix. So in my pan there, I've got a little bit more oil, maybe a couple more tablespoons. And we're going to be adding 3 teaspoons of cumin seeds, and we just need to let them do their thing in that little bit of oil just for maybe 20 or 30 seconds. That's just going to really infuse the oil, so don't skip this step. Next up, we're going to drop in our mutton or lamb mixture. It all goes in. We're on a medium heat. Let me just grab all of the contents out there. Medium heat, and I want you to go for 15 minutes. Now look, let's just talk about this guy again. I'm using this today because I just want that beautiful flavor. They are extremely hot, but the flavor is fantastic. If you don't want to use that, you could use regular green chilies, which are slightly less powerful. 15 minutes, stirring fairly often. So you can see that this is coming along really nicely. Most of the tomatoes have broken down and give us that little masala. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just get some water. We're going to completely cover it like that. We're now going to get a lid on that, turn this down to a nice low heat, to a simmer, and let it go for 30 minutes. Give it a stir every now and then. Okay, so look, I've just turned the heat up now to high. Now that was actually about 40 minutes that went for, so check your meat, make sure it's tender. It's now tender. And then a nice high heat, a big blast for about 5 minutes, just to reduce it down and get a lovely looking masala. Okay, that's looking absolutely fabulous. You know, just a few minutes to let it evaporate out a little bit because it's a bit watery. Now just to let you know that if your lamb or your mutton was still tough after that 30 or 40 minutes, go again. Just stick the water in again and go again. Off goes the heat. Check it for salt, cilantro or coriander. Beautiful. Well done. And there you have it. Great with rice, great with bread like chapati or roti or something like that, paratha maybe. Just very, very, very good. Nice and tender, tender, tender. Hope you enjoyed that. Keep safe, keep well. I'll see you soon. Lots of love. Thank you so much for stopping by and making it to the end of the videos. If you would like to donate to me, there's a thanks button in most countries. You can give me $2 or up to $50. I need to buy a new Ferrari. Come on, help me out.